Welcome students. In this session we will be covering a program under Bachelor of Sciences second year, subject Botany, semester 3, course code BOC 103, course title Plant Anatomy and Embryology. Title of the unit, Unit 5, Structural Organization of Flower, module name Structure of Anther and Pollen. Myself Dr. Nisha Kewat, Assistant Professor in Botany from DPM Shri Mallika Arjun and Shri Chetan Manju Desai College. Coming to the outline, in this we will be covering introduction, structure of anther and structure of pollen. Learning outcomes. At the end of this session, students will be able to know the male reproductive organs of a flower. They will also understand the structure of a typical anther. At the same time, structure of a pollen will also be explained. Coming to the introduction. Stamen is a male reproductive organ of a flower. It is also called as microsporophyll. In this picture, you can see that it is labeled as a topmost region as a anther, whereas the stalk region is referred as a filament. So, stamen is made up of anther and filament contributing to the male reproductive organ of a flower, which is also referred as a microsporophyll. Coming to the structure of an anther, in this picture I have highlighted the image of an anther. We can see that anther, it is mostly dithecous, which means it is bilobed. You can see here it is bilobed, bicelled or tetrasporangiate. Tetrasporangiate character we usually see when we take a cross section of an anther, which means it has a two pollen sacs. In one pollen sac there will be two microspores. Or anther develops from the homogeneous mass of cells. Coming to the layers of anther wall. Anther wall is made up of total of 4 layers. First one, epidermis, which is outermost, endothecium, middle layer and tapetum. In this image I have shown the various layers of the anthers. Outermost is epidermis, followed by endothecium, after that middle layer here, then there is a tapetum, and in the centermost they enclose the sporogenous tissue. This tissue here, which is referred as a connective, is a tissue which is attaching the two lobes of the anther, and here this is the region which is called as a stomium, from where the dehiscence of the pollen grain will take place. Coming to the first layer, that is the epidermis, it forms the outermost layer made up of flattened and greatly stressed cells. It provides protection to the developing anther. Second layer, it is mostly single layered, radially elongated, and it develops into a fibrous band. It is not a continuous layer all around the microsporangium, because it remains thin walled at the place of stomium, from where the dehiscence of the pollen grain has to take place. Endothelial cells are hygroscopic in nature, which helps in the dispersal of anthers. Middle layer, it consists of 2 to 3 layers of flattened cells. They sustain for a very short duration. In some plants these are persistent and they will function as a storage center of a starch. Coming to the innermost layer, which composed of the single layer of a cells. It is containing a dense cytoplasm and prominent nuclei. In most of the angiosperm, tapetum of dual origin, that means the outer part is formed by the parietal layer, whereas the inner portion will be derived from the connective tissue. Talking about its function, it provides a nourishment to the developing pollen grains, which will ultimately develop from the sporogenous tissue. It also plays a very important role in the formation of the pollen wall during the meiosis. Sporogenous tissue. Sporogenous tissue give rise to the microspore mother cell, or also we call it as a pollen mother cells. This tissue may function directly as a microspore, or they will go under a series of mitotic divisions before the sporogenesis takes place. Now, each pollen mother cell has a ploidy level of 2n, and it will go a reductional division called as meiotic division to form a group of a 4 microspore, which is also called as a tetrad, and individual will be called as a pollens. Now, talking about the pollen grain or a microscope. Now, talking about the pollen grains or microspores. Pollen grains are microscopic structures that carry the male reproductive cell or a gametes. Here this is an image of a pollen grain which is a magnified image under the microscope. They show a very great deal of a variation in a size, shape as well as a surface structure. Structure of a pollen grains or microspore has exine, intine, and inside it has a vegetative cell and a generative cell. Structure of a pollen grains. Exine. Here is the image of the pollen grain under the scanning electron microscope. What we see outside is the exine, which is the outer thick layer which is made up of the sporulin. It contains one or many germ pores. Exine helps in variation in structure that helps in pollen dispersal. Exine, as we know, there are some pollen grains which will disperse through wind. So, exine structure basically helps or aid in dispersing the pollen grain. Intine, which is the inner layer, it is made up of the pectocellulose in contrast to sporopollenin of exine, and it is associated with the formation of a pollen tube. Pollen tube formation takes place when the pollen grain attaches to the stigmatic surface. Now coming to the vegetative and a generative cell which is within the pollen grain. Here is a picture of a pollen grain which has a two compartmentalization. One larger one is referred as a vegetative cell, whereas a smaller one is referred as a generative cell. Generative cell will have a generative nucleus. Vegetative cell provides the food as well as helps in the movement of the male gamete, which will arise from your generative cell. This generative cell, it divides mitotically to produce the male gamete, because it cannot go further undergo a reductional division. Coming to the types of pollens based on an aperture. As we have already discussed about the exine and intine, and in external surfaces there is a various types of the aperture. If it is a porate type, that means it will have an aperture in the form of a pore. If it is a colpate type, the aperture will be in the form of a groove or a slit. Colporate is a aperture with both pore and a slit. Position of aperture. Sometimes in some of the pollen grains, more than one apertures can be arranged either at the poles or at the equator, and depending on that they are called as a zonocolpate or a pentoporate. Number of aperture also influences the naming of the pollen grain. If there is one, it will be called as a mono. If it is two, it will be called as a di, tetra, poly, and so on. Example, if it is a triporate, aperture will be in the form of a 3 pores. These are the references. Thank you.